Welcome back. Now, the state examinations are fast approaching with only 2 days left to go, which means, of course, it'll be sunny during the week. According to research, optimal performance during exams relies on consistent energy levels for the brain and the body.
And with this in mind, nutritionist Heather Leeson has joined us with some top tips on fueling the brain for exam season, Heather. And basically everything that people normally do ahead of exams, staying up late, eating rubbish, drinking loads of caffeine, don't do it. Is that your message today?
It's not helping you. So if you can think of yourself like an athlete, like those two amazing people you were talking to before, so you want to get yourself in the best shape possible for exams. So longer term, nutrition, nutrients like omega-3, hugely important for the brain. So eating your oily fish and your linseeds and food like that. But that is a long-term project. Short term, if you've got exams coming up this week, there are a few things that you need to do. And actually, it's boring. We've heard it before, but sleep, so important.
I was going to say sleep must play a huge part in it.
Huge. And I know it's tempting to stay up late or pull an all-nighter, but actually when you're tired, your body and your brain in particular are not performing at their best. So it's harder to concentrate, it's harder to perform complex tasks. So if you're doing your maths paper, that's not great. And actually sometimes better just to forget the studying, get into the pit and allow yourself 7 to 8 hours sleep if you can. Really important.
And exercise, obviously people say there's always the thing, listen, the night before, go for a nice walk, try and clear your head. But actually people who exercise more have been proven to get better results. Is that true?
Yeah, very interesting research coming out of UCC which showed that secondary school children who continue with team sports for those 2 years up to the leaving cert actually perform up to 25 points better.
Really?
Yeah, in their leaving, which is amazing. And it's hard, and look, everyone's busy, and what the research shows, I think, as well, is that a lot of girls tend to give up sports, but it's hugely important, if you can, to keep the sports going. So for those people listening who aren't quite there yet, keep up the sports, really useful. And if you are doing the leaving now, just get out and get a bit of fresh air. And you kind of reboot your brain, give yourself a bit of a rest, give yourself some fresh air, and it can make a really big difference to reducing stress levels as well.
So in terms of because I know one temptation when you're cramming is to snack.
Yeah.
I run down, make myself a sambo, have a packet of crisps, cup of tea, maybe a can of something.
Well, you don't have time. You're not putting a lot on. You're just grabbing something.
Because you want to get back up and hit the books.
Yeah.
Is that where the pitfalls are? It's eating the wrong things?
You do need to eat regularly throughout the day, because if you, for example, skip a meal or go for too long without eating, then your blood sugar will drop and that can impair your concentration and your memory. So you do want to eat regularly, starting with a really good breakfast, especially if you've got an exam that day. So you want something with slow-releasing carbs like oats or whole grain bread and some healthy fat or protein. So that's going to give you gradual energy release.
But a lot of people see the solution to the low sugar by cracking open a certain can of a certain drink.
Sure, yeah.
Which contains wheelbarrows full of sugar.
It does, and what you'll get there is a big spike of energy followed typically by a crash. So that, again, is not giving you consistent energy. If you've got a 2 or 3 hour exam, you want something that's going to keep you going. And the same when you're studying. So if you do reach for something chocolatey or sugary, you're going to get this spike in blood sugar followed by a crash, and that crash is where it all starts to go wrong. So actually having snacks is really helpful, really important. But you're talking about, you know, I don't know, something like nut butter. I have a few here to show you. Nut butter on rice cakes or oat cakes, so you're getting the carbs and the healthy fats there as well. A little bit of banana for sweetness. Something really simple like nuts and dried fruit, or some of these healthier bars are great, just to give you a little bit of energy.
Nuts and fruit, that's something you can pick on.
Exactly. And you don't want to be snacking all the time, but you can have that very quickly. It doesn't involve any preparation. You can just grab a handful of dried nuts and fruit and bring it with you as well. So if you've got a long gap, say between exams, and you might be tempted to just go into a corner and cram, actually take a bit of time to have something to eat. It will make a big difference to your performance and how you feel.
And in terms of what you have in front of you, in terms of supplements and that, what's the advice with supplements?
Well, there are nutrients that are particularly important when you're stressed. So when we're stressed and making stress hormones, we use up more B vitamins and also some minerals like magnesium. And when we test people in clinic, magnesium is one of the 3 nutrients that we're often deficient in. So actually topping those levels up is very important during periods of stress, like exams. Now, you'll find them in things like whole grains, nuts, seeds, green leafy vegetables for magnesium as well. But if you're running around, actually sometimes for a short period of time, topping up with a nice supplement that has lots of B vitamins and some of those minerals that I mentioned as well is really helpful. I like, in clinic, I use Revive Active quite a lot, NHP, Tranquil Woman. There's a few that have loads of B vitamins, but stay away from the fizzy ones that, you know, the ones you plop into a glass of water and it fizzes they're normally full of sugar or sugar substitutes. So the kind of, you're taking with one hand, giving with one hand, taking away with the other.
And what people do, unfortunately, and you talked about the sugar hit, is also the caffeine hits. Go heavy on caffeine, and there's even, pills, caffeine pills that people take to get through the night. Well, it's a reality that people feel they need, look, I need something to give me a boost.
Keep me going.
Yeah, well, what is really important is hydration. So it is important to drink liquid. We know that can impact your performance significantly, even give you a 10% boost in performance by drinking enough water. So that's drinking water throughout the day, and even bringing a bottle in with you into the exams if you're allowed can be helpful, just to top you up, having a glass of water in the morning before you start off. But then if you're drinking caffeine, that's a diuretic. So it's doing two things. It's reducing your fluid inside, internally, and it's also a stimulant. So again, like sugar, you're going to get that fast hit, and then you're going to get a slump. And we're all very different in terms of caffeine metabolism. Some of us can metabolize it very easily, others can't. And 1 or 2 cups is more than enough in a day. You can drink herbal tea, things like green tea, which have a little bit of caffeine, but there is research showing that green tea can help concentration. So just balancing it out a little bit. Nothing wrong with a cup of coffee earlier in the day. It's going to, if you have too much, though, it's also going to impair your ability to get good sleep, which is going to impair your performance.
For the next day's exam, because they come thick and fast. So if you have the cup of coffee before the exam, fine, you're going to be buzzing for an hour. But if it's a 3-hour exam, you're going to crash.
Yeah, so just balancing it out. And those sugary drinks, especially the ones with loads of caffeine, something like, I'm not even sure if I can say the brand name, but the one that gives you wings, for example, it's the same as having a strong cup of coffee with 7 or 8 teaspoons of sugar in it, which, you wouldn't do, and it doesn't help you long term. You might feel great for a few minutes, but long term in an exam, it is not going to help.
Just finally, the daddies and mammies looking after kids during exams, especially the school ones, over the next few weeks, they're going to be looking at making the meals for them and looking after them in terms of like maybe a little menu or things that they could have for the dinner that will work well for the kids.
So you're trying to
exams.
balance your slow-releasing carbs with fat or protein. So something for breakfast like scrambled eggs with a slice of whole grain bread, or if you're running out the door, even brown bread, peanut butter, a banana. You can eat it on the way into to your exam. Then a nice healthy snack, something like a green smoothie is nice. We've got some recipes on our website. You can bring that with you and put some protein in it, so it will keep you going for longer. A nice whole grain sandwich with fish, and something for dinner like a stir fry with prawns or fish and whole grain rice will keep you going. Lovely consistent energy.
So the fry up on Wednesday morning then?
Maybe as a celebration afterwards.
Before English paper 1.
This coming from the man who's eating fish taco steak or fruit kebabs. It's not.
And look at him, sharp as a tack.
Oh my goodness.
Give him the maths exam right now.
Say?
Calculus.
Thank you.
Lovely, Heather.
Good luck,
Brilliant
everyone.
stuff.
Good luck.